waking up 6, 7 in the morning to the smell of menudo or the smell of fish.
Fish.
It's a long story, but las crudas, and then they
Ah,
wake up, and then they have these like ideas of like, oh, vamos a freír pescado para que se nos cure la cruda or whatever. It's like, dude, that's not gonna do nothing. You gotta hydrate.
well, that explains why like las marisqueras are super full on Sunday morning.
Yeah, I can't imagine being hungover and having the smell of fish. Like,
Most people
yeah,
wake up to the smell of coffee. You woke up to the smell of fish.
the fish tilapia to be
Bro,
specific, and the worst of all.
I'm gonna be honest, bro. I've never liked menudo. I don't like the smell. Es que yo soy picky.
I
Yo nomás como puro chicken.
Yeah, well, I didn't like menudo for a long time. Once I started getting involved with food, like I understood it, and then eventually I liked it. The smell, I learned if it's funky, that means they didn't clean the tripe really good, so you still got some of that. Yeah, so that's the smell pretty much. Just FYI.
That's nasty, bro. Don't eat menudo. Wait, do you know the story about menudo? Like where it came from and all that?
No, I don't. Back in the day, like the leader of the tribe always got the best, which was the innards of the animal. That's the most nutritionally dense foods. They call it alpha, yeah. So I'm assuming that's it's been passed on for forever.
It's funny because I heard something like that people were trying to take advantage of the full animal because they didn't have like refrigeration, and they could toss out like parts of the cow, so they needed to make use of it, and so at the end they would make the menudo out of like everything else that they didn't eat.
Yeah, so at one point the innards became peasant food. Look at cake. Do you know why it has frosting?
No, but I'm imagining.
Because you couldn't preserve anything back in the day. The only way to preserve it was with fat or with salt. And so you don't want a salty cake, so they would lather the lard or fat from an animal on top of the bread. So that's the frosting. And now we don't need that, so we put just sweet frosting on
That's
there.
why I just prefer no frosting on my cake.
I don't really like cake, so anyways.
You know, you don't like to bake, huh? That face.
So someone said cooking is a philosophy and baking is a science. So
You don't like science.
I love it, but I like to control things. When you're cooking, you're manipulating the ingredient. When you're baking, you put it inside an oven, and if it comes out, it comes out. Yeah, so it's like, dude, like, if you mess up, like there goes 3 hours.
No, bro.
You know?
Erica likes to bake, and you're right. She has it down to a science. Like everything's perfectly measured. If she doesn't measure something, it just goes bad.
Well, look at bread, pirote, like from Jalisco, right? So the similarities between that and sourdough from San Francisco. The bread takes on the yeast from its environment. If it's too moist, it comes out one way. If it's too dry, it comes out another way. So that's what pirote has, is like the Mexican sourdough, and sourdough has that aspect as well.
Bro, why can't the Cardenas and the Norgay and the Supers and all those stores, why can't they get bolillo right, bro? It's just like puff of air, like they're like empty on the inside.
Would you want to get sponsored by them, or do you want the real answer?
Let's pretend that we're not talking about them specifically. Juana's Bakery, aquí a la vuelta.
Yeah, they're cutting corners. They're using all kinds of preservatives, so you don't get the real deal.
Oh man, so you gotta go to Mexico to get the real deal,
or San Francisco, depending on what you're looking for, or France.
San Francisco,
for sourdough, and rye and all that.
Why San Francisco?
That's where sourdough is. I don't know if that's where it comes from, but that's what it's known for.
Is it what, like the location has something to do with it?
Well, yeah, the yeast from that area. So are you familiar with yeast?
Yeah, a little bit. Like infections? Or... Oh, no, not yeast infections. That's something else.
Actually, there's people that have baked with that. You can bake with that.
Get out of here.
So yeast is an organism that eats from the flour, and it produces bubbles, and that's how bread rises. I have a few brewer friends that they set a cup outside with water and I don't know what, and they collect the yeast from that environment to make a beer. So you could do the same thing for bread. So yeah, it's a living thing. There's sourdough starters, and that's practically yeast that's alive. You have it in your fridge, so when you need it, you just pull it out.
It's like the mother, como dicen, when like you're making
la masa madre. Yeah, exactly.
Masa madre.
Yeah.
How come they always leave the padre? Why isn't there like la masa padre?
Está bien. We don't want all that extra.
Porque se va,
Le da huevo nada. Tenemos que hacer pan al rato. Están jugando las Chivas, espérate.